any innovator working on any particular idea, then definitely design is the first step. So he will, justify as well as he will come to that, point also how design thinking or design engineering is much more important for any initiated, the idea or at early stage. He has also, started some of the initiation like, the JAM, that is Technology Design and Management, the Design Wednesday, the concept every Wednesday, the session or design is being, conducted, and also design weekend being, planned every time, every year, then startup roundtables, especially for, the design perspectives. So it is, his vision or it is the efforts by which at GTU he can able to conduct almost 54 faculty development program for GTU affiliated institutes faculty, because when we have inserted design engineering subject, then definitely all the faculty should be trained. So during this 54 FDPs, almost 4,000 plus faculties enjoyed and learned this design thinking. So it is the important that all have enjoyed a lot with that the design learnings. So he has worked from October 2014 to February 2020, and then he has started his own this InnoDesk. And especially if I can remember, he has started few design clinic for that industry, summer winter school, and maybe some design thinking methodology design hackathons, and some of the boot camps that is especially for school children, because children are very adaptable at the early stage, rather than during engineering we give them insight of these things, as this has been this should be from school level. So we have done that boot camp especially for school children for 2 weeks, and also by his the efforts and the name and fame which he has created, he become mentor of change at Atal Tinkering Labs, that is specially initiated by Atal Innovation Mission and for the school children. So that Atal Tinkering Labs, and that mentor become the mentor for Atal Tinkering Lab, that is so-called mentor for change, mentor of change, MOC. So that is the flagship initiative set up by this Niti Aayog. And then he is also coordinator design innovation center of this university. When the proposal have been written, then he has contributed, and design innovation center was now established at university, supported with rupees 10 crore grant. So this is what you can say the overall the connection and engagement, and definitely he is you know able to, we can say, give the all the insights wherever we require, because 54 FDP is very huge, and 4,000 faculties. So definitely he will uh, give us the good insights on it, on this design thinking. So I now request Karamjit Singh Viola to carry forward this session and give your valuable the inputs on this the FDP for our participants. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you very much, Tushar bhai, for giving a very detailed introduction and all the efforts that we have put together. Actually, this is the teamwork of GTU, colleague, and it is not always been possible without all of yours, teamwork. You, Kaushal bhai, and everyone present here at GTU, GTU Innovation Council and Design Department. So thank you very much, Tushar, and thank you very much, Kaushal bhai, for inviting me in this FDP. And it's my privilege here to share, some of the knowledge or insight that I have gained through a couple of initiatives that we have done together at GTU. Uh, and it is also, I'm happy to share my learning through these years in design thinking, innovation, and startup ecosystem. So with that, let me share my screen if I am able to. Yeah, I am the host now. So let me share the screen.
So before starting, I request all the participants, meanwhile, please do not unmute yourself because it will disturb all the other participant as well as the speaker to have that, the harmony, or you can say that momentum. So I request all of you to be aware, okay, whether you could not able, meanwhile you can unmute and you don't know. So please do that. Okay. Yeah. I think he will join again. So meanwhile, I request all the participants to pay attention. So whenever I share that link, for attendance and all in third session, then it will contain few questions from this, the topics which already been discussed by Amresh Chakrabarti sir. Now from Karamjit Singh, and then on the last, are the speakers of the day, that is Rohit Swarupji. So please, pay attention and not down to concept. Then only you can able to learn other, because we also management faculty. We don't know anything about design thinking when we have started. So you should pay
Okay.
attention.
So, Tushar bhai, if you can make me a host so I can
Yes,
present this screen. Sorry, I
yes,
was out of the meeting. Uh,
yes. Kaushal bhai, are you there?
Yes, yes, I am available.
Yes.
uh,
Please make him, host or presenter.
Ha.
yeah. Sorry, my system was asking because I am using on this laptop first time this team meeting, so it was asking some permissions. So I have to quit it. If you can.
Yes, yes, sure.
Yes,
1 minute.
it's okay. Yes.
Yes.
Now you can share.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. So I think now can you able to see my screen? Is it there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, this FDP for for management fraternity on design thinking. We have also been discussing with our director Pankaj sir and Kaushal bhai and other management faculty as we have introduced design thinking for engineering couple of years back, and since last 2-3 years also we were discussing about introduction of design thinking in management fraternity. And I am happy that with the support from AICTE and Atal Academy, GTU is now organizing 5 days of faculty development program on design thinking for management. With that, our today's topic is research plan and fieldwork. And in 1 hour or so, it is very difficult to justify this vast subject of planning the research, for which we are trying to through which we are trying to get the innovation and creative products or solutions for our problem or for our end user. But I'll try to make it simple and quick, so we'll go quickly also. If you have any questions, kindly unmute yourself and ask me. And also if we can interact in between, that is fine. Or we can have the questions at the end of the session. So you might have gone through the definition of design thinking. Let me again rephrase it for everyone. Design thinking is human-centered approach for innovation, which integrates mainly three things. So whenever we are having the problem, or whenever we are trying to solve any problems or pain points or any possibilities, uh, we need to integrate and try to integrate these three things in first place for any project or for any startup idea. So first thing is needs of the people. We also need to integrate the possible technologies and the requirement for business success. So if these three things are integrated using design thinking approach and keeping our end user and customers into into center at the process or at the approach, we will get the experience innovation, and that is what everyone is trying to achieve through this design thinking process across the world. Design thinking is now being used by so many corporates or businesses, brand, I would say, like Apple, Samsung, Google, PepsiCo, GE, and so forth. Lot many global brands are using design thinking. It is used by some of the unicorn startups like Airbnb, Ola, Uber, Oyo, uh, and it is now also in the curricula of world leading universities, Stanford, MIT, Harvard, some of the IITs of India, and GTU, and many other premium institutes and colleges across the world. So design thinking become a need for an hour right now to for the innovation, and it helps us to identify the real problem, real need of the people, and it gives the solution which our user or end user wants to experience or use it, right? And that is why it fills the gap between the demands and the needs and the final solution through the experience innovation. Uh, you have might gone through some of the processes. I'm showing you a couple of examples here. So this is the Stanford the school design thinking process. They start with empathy, then define, ideate, prototype, and test. This is IDEO. IDEO is one of the uh, one of the best design firm or design thinking firm, we could say, and they have actually started and coined this. So if you see here, Tim Brown is CEO of IDEO, so they have given this definition, and people are using their process, their tools and techniques across the world. IDEO talks about inspiration, ideation, and implementation. And if you can focus here, both the process are very similar. Just the graphically differentiation is here, but they talks about divergent convergent process. They talks about iterative process, experimental process, and there are mainly three parts. First is design research, or what we call through observation and empathy. Second part is, so first part is problem identification through the design research, through observation, empathy, and interaction with our users or stakeholders. Second part is, of course, the problem a solution through ideation and prototype, and last part is implementation through prototype testing and further refinement of the project product or process. So basically, design thinking is iterative experimental process. It is human centric, and it is optimistic process. We focus lot many options rather focusing on one final solution. So this is the very basic difference between business process or traditional thinking and between design thinking. So traditional thinking focus on when we have a problem or problems, we try to find out one solution for that problem. So traditional thinking focus on one problem, one solution, whereas design thinking focus on when we have a problem, we will go back and understand that problem in a deeper sense through design research, through empathize with the people, through observation of the domain or surroundings, and then again reframe or define the problem in a right manner, and then we would go for finding out multiple solutions for that problems or problem, and then from that multiple solutions we are going trying to make some of the prototype, and from those some of the prototype based on the feedback of the people, from the stakeholders and our team members, we would conceptualize or develop a final solution. So it is continuously a divergent conversion analysis synthesis process, and in that sense the entire process, though it looks like step by step, but it is iterative in nature. It is very, I mean, when we are doing design thinking in real sense or with a real project, a real problem, it is not the step by step. you always can go back and forth at any time when you when the need arises, and find out the real aspects or real need of the people and try to give best solution or experiential solution for them. This is again a different graphical representation of design thinking, which talks about again 4 steps: inspiration, insight, ideation, and implementation, where we are trying to, so based on our design research topic, we are trying to go from real data of the field of the domain to abstract data, where we are trying to find out the insights. So from inspiration, we learn about the data, we learn about the domain, and from learning we get the insights, and those insights turn into actionable ideas. And from abstract data, which are the insight or problem statement, we again try to come to the real solution through ideation and implementation. So it is about real to abstract and learning to doing part. And design thinking is not about thinking, it is all about doing the things. So if you have in the past sessions, uh, yesterday or today, if you have observed or if you have followed the process, you might have understood that uh, it is very first, in the very first step or very first stage of the design thinking, observation or empathy, we are going outside and develop and understand the requirement of the user. So it is doing rather than thinking at the very first stage. We are doing the things, we are observing, we are interacting with the people to think forward, to think during the ideation process, right? So during the problem space, which is this one, so this is the problem phase, a problem space. When we are in the problem phase, we are not trying to think about the solution, but human mindset is human mindset is like that, uh, what we don't want to think, or to do it, right? So that is why it is recommended that when we are on the problem space, we are not thinking about the solution, but it is back and forth and iterative process. So it will happen that you jump here and there, and that is why the beauty of the design thinking is it is iterative, it is experimental, and you have always a chance to iterate your solution before you launch into the market. So this is the problem and solution phase through design thinking steps. If we see the flow, we'll go from concrete data to abstract, and then again from abstract to concrete through this inspiration, insight, ideation, and implementation phase of design thinking. And it is continuously an analysis and synthesis process, and that is why we are getting creative or innovative solution through design thinking process or tools and technique, because it continuously combines the analyzes, it continuously analyzes and synthesis the data, it continuously combines the creative and critical thinking, right? So most of the time, human being as we are people are critical thinker, and 90% of the people are critical thinker. Some of them are creative, and when we but we require for innovation or for creative solutions, we require and creative design. I'm not talking about creative arts. For creative arts, you only require the creative thinking, but for creative design, we require creative thinking as well as critical thinking, right? Because it is about also the constraint. Design is also about the constraint. It is not that you are though we are saying that in design thinking, and when we are in the ideation, we need to think out of the box, but it is for certain period of time. When we are diverging our ideas, when we are thinking about the ideas, we go beyond the boundaries. But when we are come back to the table and try to refine those ideas, to combine those ideas and finalize the concept, we need to consider all the constraint and boundary conditions given to the problem statement or given by the clients. Yeah, so with that, design, there is nothing right and wrong. Design is about intuitive, intuitive and creative in nature. There is nothing right and wrong in design, or I would say it is about the perceptions of the designer, maybe what he have observed or what she has observed and interact, and it is perception of the people and user what they want. Designer or design thinker tries to identify those wants and needs of the user and try to convert those needs into the creative solution. So it is about all about good and bad design. So when we have a good design, good idea, it goes through the market, right? People would accept it. When we have a bad design or bad idea, people would not accept it, market would not accept it. But we always have a chance in design thinking to iterate, get the feedbacks, to iterate. And that is why in startup phase we always say to our startups and our students that you always need to pivot, and as much as you can iterate and pivot in the initial phase, it would go longer in the market, it would sustain in the market. Yeah, so there are some of the examples of bad design. If you see, the bad design are in the aspects of usability or functionality. So these designs or these products cannot be usable with the user or for the user and customer. But these are some of the good design example where the aspects of usability and functionality has been integrated into the design part or into the product development part. So these are some of the elements or aspect of good or bad design, and these aspects: usability, functionality, quality, or sustainability. And there are some more, but these are the main aspects. So usability is the degree through which people can use or utilize the product or services. Functionality is how well and how based on our constraint or based on our design aspects or criteria, how well it performs the functions. Quality and sustainability is also important aspect. To identify this usability, functionality, quality, or sustainability aspect, we need to identify and integrate these three things. So in the first slide, when I talk about the definition of design thinking, it is about integrating desirability of the people or user, feasibility of the technology, and viability of the business. So for startup, for making your product or service a successful product, successful startup into the market, you need to integrate these three things very first. And through design thinking, when we apply integrate these three aspects of desirability, feasibility, and viability, we will get the experience innovation. And experience innovation is very much required nowadays. If you see the businesses and corporate, right, they are not only creating the product or services, uh, because everyone is creating the same more or less same product and services in the market. If we talk about this smartphone, right, every smartphone nowadays have a similar feature or technology inbuilt into them. But what makes them different, what makes them apart from other brand into the market, are the experience that people or user would get out of those product or services. And that is why people would buy 1 lakh rupee Apple X or Apple 12, 1 lakh and 30,000 rupees Apple 12, because of the experience Apple provide through its design and through its design thinking mindset. Apple is the best example. You can go and find out how design thinking helps Apple to design the product. There is a beautiful case study, video case slate are available. So if you are interested to study more, you can go how Apple have survived, how PepsiCo is survived, how Airbnb survived using design thinking. And there are a lot many examples are there. And for finding out desirability, we require the design research. We require to observe, we require to understand the
Hello.
yes. There are any questions?
हेलो
Yeah, are
यस
there any question?
हाँ बात कर रही हूँ
Hello. Okay.
I think,
So
it is, I just have to mute all participants.
okay, okay. I
And
thought it was the
you
question.
just have to, sir, unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Now, please unmute yourself. Sir, please unmute yourself. Karanjit sir.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, perfectly.
That is my present. Yeah. And it is visible presentation. Hello. Yeah. Presentation is visible, sir.
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Okay. Okay. So design research is about identifying, the needs and desirability of the people. So this is the very first step of the design thinking process or a project where we are trying to understand the hidden needs and unarticulated needs of the user. So design research is as much about inspiration as it is about information. So it is not only about the information. We are not trying to get only collecting the data. We are trying to get inspired from our design research, inspired from our users and stakeholder, and trying to find out what their needs are, right? So there is a difference there into the design research and market research. We also require sometime market research beforehand when we go for the design research, but this is the very basic difference. So the primary goal of market research is to generate value for the organization and often into the financial term, but design research generate the value for end user in terms of utility and in terms of usability. The process we use for market research are systematically gathering the data, theoretical data mainly, and then we process it through analytical processes or analytical tools. Where in design research we find out cumulative data. We look the domain or area of our interest with so many tools and technique as a holistic view, as a macro view. And then we go into deep with the micro view using some of the tools and technique and then we synthesize those data looking at the bigger picture and trying to study system as is, try to study the system through system thinking. The primary processing tool we use logic for the market research, where we use empathy into design research. I will brief about empathy in couple of slides ahead, because empathy is very much required term, or it is very much required to understand empathy in design thinking and for innovation. And it all starts with the empathy. It all starts with empathizing the people. In market research, we use reports and presentations with word chart and graphic to present the linear market data, and where data dominates us or dominate our decisions. Wherein design research, we mainly use stories, drawings, photographs, and ethnographic research data set, and where data becomes the narratives or story. So in story form, we analyze and synthesize the data. Uh, Market research, through market research, we make the decisions based on our identified options. But in design research, we develop the solution based on identified needs of the people. Yeah, so this is the very basic and minor. There is a minor difference or line between market and design research, and that is why most of the managers or management people are doing the market research. But after this design thinking, introduction of design thinking into startups and into corporate world, they are now using design research backup with the market research data for finding out the needs of the people or market demand. So basically, when we talk about empathy, so let me brief about empathy in a couple of slides. So if it would be a face-to-face interaction, I would ask you the questions what you can see in the picture. But this is the basically example of a small girl who has developed this flexible or adjustable walker for her grandparents. When she has seen the his grandparent or grandfather rather using the fixed walker and trying to climb the stairs. and how difficult it is for older people who don't have that motor control or dexterity into their muscles, and finding difficulties to climb or to go down into the staircase. So she has developed this flexible walker in the first picture. As you can see, this is first prototype or drawing of her idea, and then using with the help of experts and designers and engineers, they have developed the final walker, which would be soon into the market. And this project of that I think 9-year-old girl from Patna, Bihar, won the National Innovation Foundation award, and so this was identified by the NIF, National Innovation Foundation. And uh, every year in March or in February and March, at President House, they have a festival of innovation FOIN, where they identify many grassroots level innovations. And from GTU, from Gujarat, so many award we have won through our students, faculty members, some of the very interior people who lived in very interior villages, and they have innovated something at ground level. So basically, to develop innovative solutions and to develop experiential solutions where we can provide the experience that required by the user, empathy is very much required. And for empathize with the people, we need to feel the pain, right? We just don't say that, oh, it is bad, it is whatever happened to you is bad, and I sympathize with you. So there is also difference between sympathy and empathy. I will show you some small video on that. So basically, we need to feel the pain, we need to enter into the shoe of the user. uh, uh, this line, entering into the shoe of user, it is very much easy to say or speak, but it is very hard to put into the action, right? It comes with the practice. It comes with the using various tools and technique, and actually going to the field and trying to identify the feel of the I mean trying to identify the pain of the user. So good design comes from the heart, not from the brain, and that is where you empathize with the people. You find out the their hidden or latent needs. So this is another example where one small student, again from both the awarded by NIF FOIN, where small kid has developed this tricycle, where rider also will or customer also will have some of the exercise and help the person. And in the second example, which was developed by solution was developed by a small primary school kid, where if you can see in the government and in the school, all the taps of the water are at the same line, and the height of the students or kid are varying in a ranges. So she has just give a small idea that if we can incline the tap of the water tap, right, so it will be easy for a shorter kid to drink the water, right? So we need to observe our surroundings and identify the opportunity, identify the problems and pain of the user, and try to develop the solution. But for that, we need to observe, we need to interact with them, and we need to live with them. It is about emerging ourselves into the natural environment of our user or stakeholder. And this is how water wheel was developed for this kind of issues. And someone from, I don't know, from Mars or Moon, she has come to the earth, and she identified that people living on the earth are very intellectual, but they are not empathizing with the people, and that is why we are not socializing our engineering principle, or we are not socializing our learning to solve the problem around us, because we are not empathizing. We are just looking the scenarios and the pain points of the people, but we are not trying to find the solution. So empathy is very much required, and this is a very beautiful video for differentiate between sympathy and empathy.
So what is empathy? And why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, I'm down. I know what it's like down here and you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no, you want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. And we do it all the time, because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
Yeah, so it is very much important to understand and to identify the pain points and needs of the people, which are mainly the hidden needs or untold needs of the user. And through design research, through ethnographic research or primary data, we need to collect all these insights. We need to collect all the pain points and understanding the user's perspective. So the first thing that you might have seen into the video is taking perspective or perspective taking, right? So that is why I said that design thinking or in design there is nothing right and wrong. And this is also happening when, as a faculty members, I'm sure that everyone here is a faculty. So when we are having viva or presentation, and sometimes if students have come up with very good idea, but as per our understanding we are saying that this is not a good idea, or this is not possible, this is not happening into the industry or something like that. But sometimes we are bounded by our information, our knowledge and experiences, but students might have gone through this kind of empathy part, or they have gone through the research for the user's perspective, or have identified the user's need and problems or pain point, and that is why they are saying in different way. So always we need to try to connect with them and try to understand what their perspective are, what users perspective are. And in design thinking, in innovation, it is not about my perspective as a designer or as a problem solver or as a product designer. It is about their perspective, users or stakeholders perspective, and I'm trying to convert those perspective or get inspired from those perspective and pain points and try to give the best possible solutions to the market. Yeah. So design research, as I said, begins with the observable facts, and it is not about the opinions or judgment or interpretation, and only from the data, which are like secondary data, which are like prior art search that we call it. It is about it helps us to understand the user in a better way and convert those insights into a actionable actionable products and services and through this project requirement. It is also, we ask why questions repeatedly until we are satisfied, until we found out the root causes of the problem, which we call insight, right? It is not about surface problem, symptoms of the problem. It is about root cause or insights from the problem space. So ask repeatedly why questions, and keep yourself as a small kid, or behave as a, have mindset of a beginner's mindset, small kid mindset, where they ask why to everything, right? What is happening on the field, what is happening around them, they ask why to everything and try to learn from it. So through design research, the goal are to learning and understanding the user's perspective. So there are, as I said, there are two types of research where we are getting primary research data and secondary research data. So primary research are mainly the ethnographic research we used in design research, where we observe the participant, where we interview or interact with them, and where we immerse also. We live with them. We try to understand, and we try to do their activities or their routine. We try to live with their routine so that we can understand through what problems or pain point they are going through, because when you say when you identify any activities or process or problem on the field, and if you only observe it through surface level, like step by step activity, first activity, second activity, or third activity, in between that first and second activity there could be so many acts that user are doing. For example, you are as a faculty member, your primary activities or responsibility are to teach the students, right? So you go to the class, you turn on your presentation, you explain the things, but in between that, from your staff room to classroom, and from classroom to again staff room, and going back to home, you are doing so many activities that affect your primary activity, right? So if you are not understanding those small acts or those secondary things or hidden things where actual the problem lies in, right? Sometimes and I mean most of the times, so you cannot give the complete holistic solution, right? And that is why most of the solution, without design research, without empathizing people, when you are trying to put into the market, the market rejects the solution. Yeah. So basically, before we go for the primary data, primary research through ethnographic research, we need to find out the secondary data also, because it helps us to understand our domain, our problem space in a better way before we go onto the field, so to save the time, cost, money, and all the resources. Yeah. So through online, offline, you all know the prior art search, data research or secondary research. So through online, offline, through patent database, internet, articles, blogs, news report, or social media, or even website of the clients, or website of the problem space, we can find out this secondary research data. Now, if we talk about the primary and ethnographic research, which are, so ethnographic research is mainly the qualitative method. So in qualitative method, so in secondary research, we are trying to identify the data through facts and figures and past data. Wherein ethnographic research, which is a qualitative method, we are trying to find the words, meaning, and feelings of the people, right? Where we observe and interact with the people in their real natural environment. And this is the so in observation, you observe the user's action and all the things in their natural environment, and there are many tools for observation. So maybe in the next session of the observation empathy, you would find out the tools. Immersion, so you become the user and live their experiences, try to do their routine, try to do their activities and processes and systems through role playing, shadowing the user, or camera study. And in interact, there are formal and informal interviews, or structured and unstructured interviews, and you would get most of the data, most of the insights from unstructured, informal interviews. Then surveys and visual verbal interactions are also there. So ethnographic research focus on direct observation. It aims to observe a situation without imposing your own biases and being judgmental about the problems and facts of the user. And it also helps to identify the hidden or unarticulated needs or issues of the user. So basically the steps or flow of the design research, ethnographic research are like this, where you first need to identify a domain. You first need to identify a problem space where you want to understand the problem all about. You identify the research questions and determine locations or place for the research, time for the research when you want to go there, formulate a design research method. You also need to acquire permission and access to their environment, because sometimes if you, like for example, if you are going for any research institute, if you are going to visit any, if you are going to visit any hospital, or if you are going to visit any government institute, or even like airport or port authority or something like that, defense, ISRO. So you need to acquire permissions and access to their environment. Then have the prior art search before you go on to the field to understand very basic things about the domain, and then go out, observe and participate into their activity, interview and record the data. Record of data is very much important. Sometimes people and students go into the field, they interview people, but they don't write the answers, they don't record the interview or interactions. Then after coming back, you map the data through analysis and synthesis, and then finally define and reframe your final problem statement. So this is the steps or flow of the ethnographic research or design research. Your problem space, your domain is looks something like this, where your all the stakeholders, users are connected with each other. And so that is why you need to see holistic view of your domain. You need to try to find out the connections point between them, missing dots or gaps between the interactions or activities that they are doing. Your product or services are also connected to the people and stakeholders by social or emotional or symbolic or functionality wise aspect. So the entire problem space, it is not about only observing or interacting with one or two stakeholders. It is about trying to get perspective from the all the stakeholders that are connected to the design research, or that are connected to the problem space. So keep in mind where to look for, what to look for, how to look for, how to interpret, and listen carefully to understand different viewpoints. I'm going very quick right now to save time and to have some of the questionnaire at the end. So you need to select the time, place and stakeholders, where to look for, and capture all the data points and insight. There are lot many tools and technique available for design research, and after that you need to identify the themes and cluster, and you need to recognizing the pattern that is there onto the field. And I mean, all these can be done into a faculty development program where we only focusing on solving the problem, not only learning design thinking. So maybe I would request GTU to with the same participant conduct other FDP, where we are actually doing all that thing with by ourselves in a team. Then we need to study the system as is, right? So primary research or ethnographic research is about study the system as it is. Whatever there on the field, we need to study that. So mainly the primary research data are the current data which is lies in front of us, which are there on the field, and the secondary data are the past data, from where we are trying to get some of the answers, and from where we are trying to understand what is happening on the field and how it is happening. But the primary data, for primary data or for primary research, we need to study the system as it is. So we need to find out what are the activities that are on the problem space, existing systems and processes or products used, and what kind of customer touch points, how customers are interacting through these activities with each other, with the problem, with the with the systems, with the product or services, and technologies or technique are being used currently into the field, and then gaps that exist, right? These gaps, we call it insight. So basically the insights are facts, hidden needs or root causes lies at the problem. So there could be a real and or a latent needs, and we always need to try to find out these real or latent needs of the people. And finding insights is not that much easy. It comes from the experience. It comes when you again and again use these tools and techniques of the design research or design thinking, and trying to connect with the user, trying to observe, interact with the user, then you find out the insight. So basically the data that secondary research or prior research are the symptoms, but we also need data along with these facts. And we always need to differentiate between these insights and symptoms to understand the real or latent needs of the user. And insights come from direct observation. It is not where you are sitting in the AC cabin and trying to understand from the data points, from the research, from the from the secondary research. It is going there, observe them, interact with them, and immerse with their natural environment. In ethnographic research data, or in ethnographic research or design research, observation and interview plays a very important role. And for that sense, interview can be individual interview, where you go there and interact with the individual person. May I request a couple of people to unmute? Mute yourself. Sorry. Yeah. We can have the individual interview. We can also have the group interview, where we are interviewing community, interviewing society, interviewing certain groups of the problem space, interviewing entire family for that matter of fact. And we also need to interview the expert. If you are, for example, if you have selected domain of agriculture, if you have selected domain of retail or finance or fintech or healthcare, you also need to interact with the expert and try to understand their perspective. If you have selected healthcare and if you are trying to develop the surgical instrument, so based on only the patient's perspective, if you are developing those tools which are going to use by doctor, and if you are not interacting with the doctor or understanding the perspective of doctor, it is not going to use. They are not going to use those tools, right? So you also need to take the perspective of patient and doctor or nursing staff and the other stakeholders who are supplying those product or services. The questions in interview can be open-ended and close-ended, but the better way is to keep your question open-ended. For example, when you say that what is the last time when you use reusable shopping bag when you go out, right? So they say yesterday, or they say last week, or how many times, how often you are using, so they say every time. So these are like close ended question. But if we ask, tell us your shopping experience and how you use, or tell us about whether you use or not shopping bag, reusable shopping bag. So they will narrate a story about their shopping experience, about using the this shopping bag, reusable shopping bag, and from that you will get the insights. From that you will understand their perspective, right? So it is always recommended to use open-ended question, where you get interaction flowing with the user or stakeholder, and it is not only the yes or no kind of, or multiple MCQ kind of answers from where they can select the option. Components of interview are like recording the data and observe the expressions also. So we'll talk about later. Data are qualitative as well as quantitative. So you would require primary as well as secondary data. And interview can be a face-to-face. And right now in this pandemic situation, you can use this online Zoom or Skype or a telephonic interview for doing the research. And so when we talk about interview, normally people or student have a tendency, if they are not trained for interview, so student have tendency that they go there and ask the questions directly. But this is the interview for empathy, where we need to connect with them, and when we connect, then and then they will open up and they will share their views or perspective or their pain points, right? So we need to introduction of ourselves. We need to have introduction of the project, then build a rapport, and then evoke these stories through your questions or through asking open-ended question. And during your conversation, explore the emotion. This is the time when they are open, when you build the rapport and evoke the stories, or try to motivate them for sharing their stories. And then you ask certain questions and thank you and wrap up. So if this is the 1 hour interview, if this time is for 1 hour, you explore the emotions and ask the questions in the last 10 minutes, not the first part of the interview or first 10 or 20 minutes, right? So this is how interview for empathy goes on, or interview for design research, ethnographic research are doing. You also need to observe the expressions and behavior, facial expressions, bodily expressions, their likes, dislike, they are being anger, embarrassed, fear, they are sad, they are, sometimes they are blank. So you also need to take the pause and try to understand their expression, observe their expression, behaviors, because sometimes what they are saying and what they are doing is completely different, and it is all happening with all of us, right? As a human being, what we are saying, thinking, we are doing completely different than that, right? Because we are trying to portray ourselves in very different manner, from our pain points or from our problems. So we need to observe, as a designer, as a design thinker, we need to observe the expressions and behavior of the people, the facial expressions, bodily expressions, their act, what they are doing, and how they are behaving with the people, with the products or services. So it is very much important in observation, not only observing activities and other things, but also observe expressions and behavior of the people. And at the end, before we go on to the field, we need to prepare this research plan, where we are this is like checklist of the research plan, where we are not forgetting anything. So who and where to observe, think about the profile of your target group, of your end customers or stakeholders, where to observe, find out the location, when to observe. So what kind of when if you are, see, if you are observing or trying to research the retail chain or retail space, you need to go when more people are there, or when that place is busy, during maybe festival time or during maybe a sell time. So where to observe, what to observe, whom to observe, or when to observe, what are the different role of your team. So if this is a team team project, so you need to assign a role to every team member, so that you all go there and have your own roles and responsibility. Because sometimes when students go in 4 to 5 team members, 1 or 2 people are doing the all work, and other 2 or 3 are not doing anything. And that is why if you have not assigned, it may happen that everyone would come back with the same data, or everyone would miss the important data, and it is not happening, or it is not helping us. So you need to assign the role to every team member, what to observe and what to learn from your research plan or research data. So it is also we need to keep in mind that when we are going there, and when we have access or acquired the permission, and it is very difficult to get permission later on or further, second time or third time, it is there, we are there for 2 hours. So let's use that research data, or what to look for, and what to learn from those research data. So for that, you need to be prepared before you go onto the field, and also you need to check the inventory for reporting or for documenting your data, because documentation is very much important. And I have to say that we Indians are a little bit poor into documentation, but we are improving now. So we need to check for every inventory that is required, or the things or tools that is required for recording data, having like templates, reports, or camera, pen, etc. Right. So this is the research plan. And after coming back from research, you need to map your data, where we can have simple this kind of matrix form. There are other tools also. So you need to put all your data, observations or findings or insights into this metric form, where you can put all background study or secondary research from facts and figures. I mean about facts and figures in one quadrant, the human user issues and needs or pain points or insights in one quadrant, environment and surrounding issues in another, and suggestions, insight from stakeholders or interviews are in one quadrant. And then you map and connect those data and try to find out the problem or problems in that problem space or domain. So with that, I would I think conclude here. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer those. If you have any query or from participants, from organizer. So I think it's, yeah. So any questions, guys, for me? Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm Vijay Lakshmi from Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
How many products have you commercialized, or how many products you have prototyped so far?
So when I
Which
was
domain?
at when I was at GTU, we have supported so many startups and so many projects in that sense. And so my venture of InnoDesk is not in product development, but I am into the providing training and services courses to educational institutes and training programs for corporate in design thinking, innovation, and startup area. But as a mentorship, as a a mentor role, we have supported a couple of startups at GTU and across the India to commercialize and to from idea to prototype, or from idea to MVP stage, and then into the growth stage. So there are a couple of products are there. We have developed, we have supported at the university level.
Sir,
Are there any specific questions into that?
Sir,
Yeah,
with
Vijay.
which government institute are you collaborating for commercialization, or with
Sorry?
which private institute?
Sorry?
With which organization are you collaborating for commercializing the product?
No. I said at university level we have developed these products. So we have our own at GTU, we have our own incubation center where we are developing and where we are trying to commercialize that. Of course, using state government and central government fund, and some of the investors that we have into the ecosystem. So with that, we are supporting them. The student startup we are supporting in this ecosystem right now. And there are a couple of CSIR institutes, central level, those who are supporting at university level. A couple of products through hackathons, that Tusarbai give you more details. Couple of products or solutions from hackathon that emerge from such kind of things that we are doing. Couple of startups are there. those are into the market right now. Their products are into the market. They have commercialized the product, and for those products, for those startups, we have supported them through this design thinking process or through this innovation, structured process. So yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Are there any specific questions related to that design thinking, ma'am, Vijay Lakshmi ma'am, or you want to just know about commercialization? Because see, commercialization and taking idea from a prototype to MVP and then MVP to growth is again different, completely a different discussion. Yeah. So that
Okay.
is why I ask you, and that is why I given very generic answer. But maybe after this session or somewhere we can connect and Tushar bhai make that connection happen if you have any further questions specifically for commercialization. Yeah.
Sir, in which domain you have given more support in your experience? In for which product specifically to any domain?
Yeah. So basically yeah. So basically I have supported I mean I'm in education. I'm also academicians. So basically my role is mainly to support as a mentor and to establish this ecosystem with process and these tools and technique. But during startup interaction, I have interacted with agricultural startups, healthcare startup, also in some of the food delivery systems. So these are a couple of areas that I have supported, and I'm more interested though.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kamal
But
sir?
basically, see, Vijay Lakshmi ma'am, this is the design thinking, and when we apply design thinking in academic, design thinking can be applied to any field. So
Okay.
when you have that commercialization aspect, and when you as a faculty, if you don't have any specific expertise on area, but if design thinking or this structured approach, you can guide your all these students. And when this expertise will require, you can collaborate, as you said, you can collaborate with national and international experts for guiding your students. So this is and for faculty member, as a faculty member role, as a facilitator, we need to understand that whether we are supporting them through this structured approach, because every student's idea will be different. Everyone will come up with different domain idea. Yeah. So you don't need to be an expert in every field, but if you become expert in this structured approach by providing your guidance and mentorship. And that is why I said I play a role much more onto policy level, where we define this policy and structured at university level and then at Gujarat state level. So, but basically, as I said, my interest is in mainly in agriculture, healthcare, and food delivery or something like that. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Kamal sir?
Yeah.
Sir, thank you for this very informative session and sharing some best of class examples. Sir, I have a question regarding design thinking.
Yeah.
With your permission, sir, actually, I am working as a faculty in one of the institution at Ghaziabad. So what I have observed is what we have been going through this content part of design thinking. So, for example, in marketing, we focus on need or the want from the market as well as from the customer perspective. In product management, we also discuss design and prototyping. Consumer behavior is talked about empathy. Research is about elaborating on the selection of right form of research for the problem, like ethnography is also there. And innovation and technology management is also including design. So since you are coming from the academic as well as business background, so how you respond to the criticism of design thinking if I say that instead design thinking is a over glorified concept?
Yes.
So how you actually handle this criticism?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So basically design thinking term becomes a fashionable in sense that as you said, people are debating on two parts of it. One group is saying that design thinking creates wonders for people and for corporates or businesses, and other group is saying that, as you said, they criticize design thinking. They are saying that it is waste of time, or it don't give the proper results that we are looking for. But through the examples that I have showed to you, and the examples I mentioned from like Airbnb case study, or PepsiCo, or there are many other case studies available in academia as well as in the corporate or business sector. So if we see that, as you said, design thinking is glorified subject or glorified term. We are using design thinking since ages. It is not that Stanford or IDEO has given to us, but they have research in a very structured manner through which everyone can utilize it, everyone can use it. Before that, some of the persons whom we call genius, who can combine this creative or critical thinking in their mindset, and they can see or they can connect the dots, they can find out those gaps, they can only create the better or successful products or services into the businesses. But using design thinking as a structured approach, we can enable our students to find out those needs, try to connect with the or try to integrate with the possible technologies, and then find out the business viability. So this structured approach, if we don't understand, and if we don't train our students or teach our students, they will not be able to do that. And for that criticism, I would say that over these 5 days, we are not going to become a design thinker, but at least you will know that what is design thinking, what is it all about, where it can be used, or how it can be used. And if you are more interested, and then you would learn more thing and try to apply practically. So if we don't apply it practically, learn from that, and understand the very fundamental things or guidelines behind design thinking, it would not help us. And it is happening because people are using template based design thinking. As I said, design thinking is intuitive, it is creative process, it is an approach and mindset. It is not the 1 + 1 = 2. So whatever template I would give you in design research, whatever template I would give you in 5 days, if the workshop, if you use that template, that observation, 1 or 2 tool for observation for every problem, every situation, right, it will not give you the desired result. So there are lot many tools, lot many techniques available for each and every steps of design thinking. And based on our context and based on our problem space, we need to use those tools. Whatever tools that we are discussing in maybe a very basic fundamental workshop of design thinking, or people across the world are defining or giving the tools to participants, those are very basic tools. Maybe designers or design thinkers might not using those tools in real situation. So you need to use contextual tools, you need to use contextual techniques for design thinking. And again, it is iterative and intuitive process. It is a methodology, it is an approach. It is not 1 + 1 = 2, so you apply every time the similar way. See, for example, Six Sigma for quality, we know that one equation, and we need to try to find out less, or I mean minimum error in 0.03 or something like that, right? But in design thinking, this is not happening, because it is not 1 + 1 = 2. It is contextual process. And those who are not using contextually, those who are using it as a template base by through maybe one training program or webinar, they will not get the right desired solution. And that is why this debate is going on around the world. So I think who asked the question, I forgot.
Pankaj.
Yeah, so yeah, Pankaj sir. So I think I am able to satisfy your question at certain. Sorry.
You pointed out you should ignore the template-based design thinking. That is the point I picked up.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
certainly, yes, there are things that are actually commonly distributed in various subjects.
Yes.
So
yes.
Actually, try to work on having one separate discipline so that one can learn how to use thinking in the design part. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Basically, see, design thinking. If we talk about very basic aspect of design thinking, where I talk about desirability, feasibility, and viability, it is about a design where we are find out design research through desirability. It is about technical, engineering part through technology, and it is about business. So management people can play a role there. So that is why for any individual to be successful in this right now in this VUCA world or 21st century, they need to understand design thinking, because it is again multidisciplinary approach as you mentioned. And there are so many common things, but the beauty of design thinking is that they have structured in a way that we can learn some of the skill sets, we can interact, we can collaborate with many people. It gives us that flexibility in the process itself.
Sir, this is Tushar from Maharashtra. I have a question regarding, as you explained about the convergence and divergence model, right? So along with that, you also explained about empathy. But is it that empathy comes under human-centered design, or the human-centered design and the empathy are the two different things?
No. Empathy comes under human-centered design, or design thinking is a human-centered design. So empathy is a part of design thinking or human-centered design in that sense, and it is the very first step. From empathy, you understand and inspired for the problems or pain points of the user or your stakeholder. And from empathize phase, you would move from defining and then identifying the solutions, trying to generate many solutions. So it is again a convert. Yeah.
Sir, does it mean that empathy means you try to know customer's point of view better in a way, also what they exactly require, and if we can know from their point of view, then maybe we may provide the best solution?
Sorry, sir, I am not able to hear you properly. Can you repeat it again?
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Can we conclude that empathy required in design thinking to know from customer's point of view, or anybody for whom we are designing?
Yes.
And by knowing their perspective, we can give the best solution, and we should keep ourselves from other trial and error, unnecessary trial and error.
Of course. This is very correct, and this is the conclusion of the empathy or design thinking. So yes, both of you, your questions, the answer lies in this conversation, that empathy is very first step. We need to understand. And it is because, see, what happen is, I'll give you a small example. When we all know about the Akash tablet, and government has developed this Akash tablet with the help of one consulting, one engineering firm from outside of the India. They have developed this technological product, or best technological product. They focus on the solution that much that they haven't understand what our users or customers would be required or facing. So they have sit into their country and their AC cabin, whatever the data government has provided to them, they have developed this Akash tablet. But they haven't come to India, they haven't gone to the villages where Akash tablet is supposed to be distributed, and they have developed this product. Technology wise, that product is very much sound and very much successful. But when it was distributed to the villagers, they can't able to use it because it was in English language. So this small fact or insights we need to understand, right, that the usability and functionality aspect is also very much important, which comes later on the product development stage. But to define those things in very first step, we need to empathize with the people, we need to understand the pain points of the people. I think with that, if there are any other question.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So Tushar sir, Kaushal sir, If there are any further questions, we can take one more maybe, or else we can conclude as per your guidance.
Yes, Karamjit ji. So thank you, and definitely I think in your upcoming session will have we'll take a few questions. If,
Yeah.
Because you have covered almost very basic fundamentals and started with examples and then come to that the process which is again required, and again from my the you can say the industry, that management fraternity, it is much more required, and you have touched upon that points from where this kind of participants, those who have not been used to this design thinking concept, can able to learn, and definitely they all will now have the clear idea on few things. So that is from starting from empathy to few concept of research. So might be every participants now have clear understanding, because research is part of management, and now to align design and research, now I think all the participants have cleared that thing.
Sure.
So
thank you very much. Yeah, Tushar sir.
Yes, we'll conclude the session, because I think next speaker will be soon join.
Sure.
And till that we'll have 5-minute break. So on behalf of Graduate School of Management Studies GTU, I really thank you your the time, and for your valuable session on basics on this the design research and the empathy the concepts, and definitely will again invite for another session and learning.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. Thank you sir. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. So participants, I request to be in this meeting, and we'll have next session in 5 minutes. So be ready with for your next session. So that will be more again interesting practical exposure the last session we have set up. Yes, I think our guest is already joined. Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hello, Tushar bhai. How are you?
Fine, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Hope you're able to see and hear me clearly.
Yes, perfectly audible and visible, sir.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So I hope the program is going really well, and appreciate the great initiative of the institution.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are trying our level best. At least we can give the injection of design thinking to this, the new management faculties. So in coming time, definitely will bring few design mentors out of this, participants.
Oh, wonderful. That's a very noble initiative. It's badly needed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because at that time, if you are aware, we already date has been declared. And from 11th, you require to appear in your external exam. And at the same time, I am allowing for the internship. It's a contradictory. आपकी जॉब कब रहेगी? मान लो जॉब मिल भी जाती है तो डिग्री होगी तब जॉब मिलेगी. So those kind of things, I have to take certain decisions. I have stopped. मुझे ले जाओ ना फिर मेरे साथ.
Sir, I have mute all the participants, so please unmute
Sure.
yourself. Yeah.
Yes, sure.
So Kaushalji, shall we start?
Yeah, sir, please go ahead.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. And today we have invited one of the renowned, the personality from our ecosystem, who is, very much, popular in few countries as well as few renowned institutes.